never would have thought that I'd become a time traveler. It all started when I stumbled upon a strange machine while exploring an old abandoned laboratory. Without knowing what I was doing, I pressed a button on the machine, and suddenly found myself hurtling through time. My first stop was the medieval era, where I found myself face to face with a group of knights on horseback. They were on their way to a battle and invited me to join them. I hesitated at first, but my curiosity got the better of me and I decided to go along. As we rode into battle, I couldn't believe what I was seeing. The sound of swords clashing, the smell of burning tar, and the sight of knights charging towards each other was overwhelming. But I quickly learned how to fight like a knight and helped our side win the battle. Next, I found myself in ancient Egypt during the construction of the pyramids. I met the pharaoh himself and helped oversee the construction of the great monument. It was hard work, but the sense of accomplishment was worth it. My time-traveling adventures continued, taking me to the Wild West where I helped a group of cowboys protect their town from bandits, to the Renaissance where I assisted Leonardo da Vinci in creating some of his masterpieces, and even to the future where I witnessed the incredible technological advancements of mankind. But with each adventure came new challenges and dangers. I had to be careful not to interfere too much with the course of history and avoid being caught by those who may not understand my presence. As I finally returned to the present day, I felt grateful for the incredible experiences I had. I had traveled through time, met incredible people, and seen unbelievable things. It was a journey I would never forget, and one that I would always cherish. After my incredible journey through time, I couldn't wait to go back and explore more historical eras. But before I could even start to think about that, I had to figure out how to get back to the time machine. I retraced my steps through the laboratory, searching for any clues on how to activate the machine again. Suddenly, I heard a strange noise coming from a dark corner of the room. As I approached, I could see that it was the time machine, but it was acting strangely. Without warning, the machine started to shake violently, and I was thrown off my feet. When I got back up, I realized that the machine had somehow malfunctioned, and I was trapped in a limbo between time periods. Desperate to escape, I started to press random buttons on the machine in the hopes that something would work. Suddenly, the machine lit up, and I was transported to another time, but this time, it was different. I was in a strange, unfamiliar world, and I didn't recognize anything around me. As I started to explore, I soon realized that I wasn't in the past or the future anymore, but in an alternate reality. In this new world, everything was different. The people, the animals, the landscape, all of it was completely foreign to me. As I struggled to adjust to this new reality, I realized that I would have to find a way to get back to my own world. With no other options, I set out on a new adventure, determined to find a way back home. As I traveled through this strange new world, I encountered new challenges and made new allies, but as I journeyed on, I couldn't help but wonder, how did I end up in this alternate reality? Was it something I did while time traveling, or was it something else entirely? As I continued to search for answers, I knew that one thing was certain: my time-traveling adventures were far from over. There were still so many eras to explore, and so many mysteries to uncover. And I couldn't wait to see where my travels would take me next. After many days of traveling through the strange new world, I finally came across a group of people who seemed to have some knowledge of my situation. They told me that my time machine had malfunctioned in a way that caused it to transport me to a parallel dimension, one that was similar to my own but had key differences. They also informed me that the only way to return to my own reality was to find a rare crystal that had the power to activate the machine and send me back home. The crystal was located in a dangerous and treacherous part of the world, but I knew that I had no other choice but to try and retrieve it. I embarked on a perilous journey, encountering many obstacles and challenges along the way. I had to face fierce creatures and treacherous landscapes, but I pressed on, fueled by my desire to return home. After what felt like an eternity, I finally reached the location of the crystal. It was guarded by a powerful entity that tested my skills and strength, but I was determined to succeed. With great effort and perseverance, I managed to defeat the entity and retrieve the crystal. Holding it in my hand, I felt a sense of relief and accomplishment. I knew that I had completed the most challenging part of my journey. I quickly made my way back to the time machine and inserted the crystal. With a burst of energy, the machine activated and started to hum. I stepped inside, and with a flash of light, I was transported back to my own reality. As I stepped out of the machine, I couldn't help but feel grateful for my time-traveling adventures. I had encountered many dangers and obstacles, but they had taught me the value of perseverance and determination. And now, as I looked back on my incredible journey, I knew that I would never forget the lessons I had learned along the way. It seemed like only a few days had passed since my departure, but it was clear that weeks, if not months, had gone by in my absence. I quickly realized that I had a lot of catching up to do. I needed to check in with my friends and family, find out what had happened while I was gone, and see what new adventures awaited me in my own time. But as I made my way through the streets of my hometown, I couldn't help but feel a sense of longing for the time-traveling adventures that I had left behind. Despite the dangers and challenges that I had faced, I knew that there was a part of me that yearned for the thrill of exploration and discovery. As I settled back into my old routine, I couldn't help but feel a sense of restlessness. I knew that I couldn't ignore my passion for adventure, and that I would have to find a way to continue my travels in some way. That's when I had an idea. What if I started a travel blog, chronicling my time-traveling adventures and sharing them with the world? It would be a way for me to satisfy my own wanderlust while also inspiring others to explore the world around them. And so, I set to work on my blog, sharing my stories and experiences with anyone who was willing to read them. I wrote about my encounters with historical figures, my struggles in alternate dimensions, and the lessons that I had learned along the way. As my blog gained popularity, I started to receive messages from people all over the world, thanking me for inspiring them to travel and explore. I knew that I had found my calling, and that I would continue to share my time-traveling adventures with the world for as long as I could. And so, my adventures continued, taking me to new eras, dimensions, and realities that I could never have imagined. I encountered new challenges and made new friends, but through it all, I knew that I was living the life that I had always dreamed of. As I reflect back on my time-traveling adventures, I realize that they have taught me more than I ever could have learned in a traditional classroom or office job. They have taught me about the power of determination, the importance of exploration, and the beauty of the world around us. And so, as I continue on my journey, I know that there is still so much more to discover, and so many more stories to tell. But I am ready for whatever challenges and adventures lie ahead, fueled by my passion for exploration and my love for the incredible world that we live in. As my blog continued to gain popularity, I started to receive invitations to speak at conferences and events all over the world. I would share my stories and experiences with audiences of all ages, inspiring them to pursue their own dreams and explore the world around them. It was a thrilling experience to be able to connect with so many people and to see the impact that my stories were having on their lives. But even as I traveled from country to country, I couldn't help but feel a sense of restlessness. I knew that there were still so many more adventures to be had, and that I couldn't stop exploring just because my blog was successful. And so, I decided to take my travels to the next level. I invested in a new time machine, one that was even more advanced than the one that had first transported me through time. With this new machine, I would be able to travel even further back in time, and even deeper into other dimensions and realities. As I stepped into the machine and set the coordinates, I felt a sense of excitement and anticipation wash over me. I knew that the adventures that lay ahead would be unlike anything I had ever experienced before, and so, with a burst of energy, the machine activated and I was transported through time and space once again. I found myself in a new world, one that was even more strange and fascinating than any that I had encountered before. I never forgot about the people who had inspired me along the way. I continued to write my blog, sharing my stories and experiences with anyone who was willing to read them. And I continued to speak at conferences and events, inspiring others to pursue their own dreams and explore the world around them. And so, my time-traveling adventures continued for many years, taking me to new heights and showing me the incredible power of determination, passion, and exploration. I may never know what the future holds, but I do know one thing for sure, that I will always be an adventurer at heart, eager to discover the wonders of the world around me.